Also noch beim.
Hello and welcome everybody to the newest installment in the incredible adventures of the unsinkable Alice Baker, Alice in Japan. It's been a while since we last spoke, simply because real life happened. I was sick. Alice was sick. So it was like really Dottie and Alice were both under the weather at different times. But the good thing is this one is coming out right for the holiday season, so that if you have time, if you want to listen to something in the background, or even if you don't have anything else on, you will be able to accompany our heroines on their journeys in Japan. So you have spoken to the Empress. Oh, well, the Empress Dowager has spirited you away to her part of the palace.
Mhm.
And she has tasked you with, well, first of all, she has told you that you have also been behind the mirror. So she knows what happens, and she believes that there is some kind of connection that connects you to the supernatural, which you neither confirmed nor denied, but Her Majesty, of course, knows. And she's tasked you because she has seen visions of a conflagration that's going to destroy her homeland, which is Japan. And she believes that the reason for this conflagration sits in her own family. And she believes that it's something to do with essentially her cousin, who is uncle to the current emperor. And she would like you because she is not able to leave the palace. Even to this day, the imperial family is very secluded and pretty much kept away from the limelight. And even back then, it was even worse. And being a woman, there was nothing she could really do. So she has tasked you with doing this, and she's also given you a person that you already know, Minami Takane, whom you met in your attempt, or while you were trying to steal something from the museum, and she will be your interpreter, as it were. And she will also move into the hotel that you're staying at, and I forget its name, which is unforgivable.
Imperial.
The Imperial Hotel, which is also, as we established last time, the place where most of the Western embassies are, because after the big Kanto earthquake that destroyed large parts of Tokyo, a lot of them moved to this hotel, which is huge, because the houses still need to be rebuilt and the palaces or the embassies still need to be rebuilt. So yeah. And it's the next morning, and you're going down to breakfast, and you've decided to take Colonel Piggott up on his. He also he is the he's not the ambassador, he's the consul. No, he's the ambassador. No, he's the military.
The British military attaché.
The military attaché, and his office is in the Imperial.
Yes.
And you would like to find out more about the prince, and maybe also about what's going on there. And you've decided to contact him to see if he will have lunch with you.
Yes.
Okay. So you're probably going to send a message. It's not becoming of a person of your station to actually go to him and ask him directly. That would be most inappropriate.
Confirmed lunch. That's at least my notes say, that he confirmed that we are basically meeting up for lunch. And Alice is sitting, sipping her coffee and reading the Tokyo Sun, where she read about the Geographical Society and read again the name of Professor Fukuchi, which was like, oh yeah, we heard of him.
Yeah. And he is planning an expedition to Ponape, which is in the southern Pacific. If you look it up, and I believe you would have, Ponape is it's an insular state, and it is back then it was still called Ponape, and it belongs to Japan. It used to be its own country, but Japan basically won it in the First World War.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what you know about it, and it is famous for its archaeological sites, where there are lots of ruins which are still visible today, and where nobody really knows where they came from. So who built them is unknown. But it's also very far away from anywhere, and nobody has ever, shall we say, surmised that the people of Japan would have come from there. So it's not like one could say, okay, if you go there as a Japanese archaeologist, you're researching your own heritage. It's never been like that. So why somebody would go there at this time, now, and why a member of the imperial family would finance this is something you can't actually see when you just look at the information that is available at first glance.
Okay. We bugged the camera. Come on, it's a bit tad better. Yeah. So it will be interesting to go there.
Yes,
It's
it will be
still
very interesting to go
weird
there.
why the prince would finance that. I get why Professor Fukuchi is interested in that, but why is the prince financing that?
Okay, so the question is, what do you want to do between now and lunch, or should we just skip to lunch?
I think the only thing we would do after breakfast, maybe ask if Miss Minami, also Akane Minami, already moved in, if she's already there.
You would go to reception to find out, or how? Okay.
Yeah. Just if she's there. I don't want to know which room or anything. That would be indiscreet.
21, she's there.
Then I would leave a message if she's up for meeting up for dinner.
Okay. Very well, madam. I'm going to pass on this message to Miss Minami.
Thank you so much. We will be up in our room. And I think we'll just have a relaxed morning after breakfast, and probably going through our books a bit more on what we can find, if we can find anything. Probably for the island we already looked, but I would also be very curious about the imperial family and the sea serpent story that we heard with a painting, just to see if we can find anything in our books. If not, that would be something for later to have a peek at.
What would you like to know about the imperial family? What would be the questions that you have?
Mainly, this is a line that is moved on. So basically, if the current emperor has a son, he will step in the footsteps of his father, right? So it's blood right.
It is, and it is also something that is very strict. It has to be a male heir. And if the current okay, so what you find out is that the Empress Dowager you have met is called Empress Teimei, and she is one of several concubines of the former and now deceased, or the late emperor, I should say. And you find out that every emperor always had more than one wife simply because he needed to produce a male heir.
Yeah. And make sure it survives until it's old enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the cases where that was impossible, because I mean, it's also possible that the man can't perform. It would always have been, let's say, the son of the brother, blah, blah, blah. So it was always the same family. The family has been on the throne since time immemorial. And with the Meiji Restoration, they also took power back from the shoguns. And what has been purported is, yes, her husband had many wives or several wives, but he doesn't seem to have been very interested in the other ones. So it seems like this was kind of a love match, maybe. And she also produced a male heir, which probably helped the relationship a lot.
And she got her status by A, marrying, but B, especially producing the next heir.
So she's actually the daughter-in-law of the Meiji Emperor, the person with the restoration. She is. You find out a lot about her as well. She's been an active patron of the Japanese Red Cross Society. And it is. Oh, sorry, I spoke out of turn. Actually, no. Her relationship with her husband was so good that he showed no interest in taking any concubines, unlike hundreds of years of imperial tradition. And she gave birth to 4 sons. So basically that helped. If she hadn't given any birth to any sons, then he would have had to take one. But apparently they were really in love. And whereas, of course, his father would have had more than one wife, but he himself didn't take any concubines. And her mother was actually a member of the Fujiwara clan by right of being one of his concubines. So she comes from a concubinage line herself. And and she, of course, became empress consort when her husband, Yoshihito, Emperor Taisho, ascended to the throne in 1900. And so
can we find anything around Keeper of the Jewel and the Serpent?
You mean the story itself?
The story itself, because she says she's the priestess of the jewel, and it sounds as well as something that is given on to the next generation somehow. Just to see if we can find something. I suspect not, but at least Alice wants to see, because we just have very generic books. I think we would have something on the lineage of who's emperor, but these details, I suspect we need to look into like I don't know, either museum or a library or so, and probably need our translator for it because they are not there in English.
Okay, you can. There are a couple of things around this. Number one is the actual story of Ama carrying away the jewel from the Sea King's palace. This is a legend, the legend of Tamatori Hime, Princess Tamatori, also known simply as the Ama. And Ama is... I'm going to post this. You don't have to worry about this, but I'm going to read it out.
You gave the name last time.
Okay.
I just stopped with the last 2 letters. They were not there.
Basically, the term Ama is the name of a term that refers to female pearl divers, which to this day is a female profession in Japan. So women diving for pearls. And the story is a very popular subject in Japanese art, especially ukiyo-e, woodblock prints, and no theater. And this is something that would be widely available in tourist guides because it is it's like Hänsel und Gretel, like of its importance.
Okay.
So it unfolds as follows. Number one, there is the lost jewel, a priceless sacred jewel, a gift from a Chinese emperor to his Japanese father-in-law. Fujiwara no Kamatari is lost at sea during a storm. The jewel sinks to the underwater palace of the Dragon King, Ryojin, who takes possession of it. Then we have the quest. Kamatari's son, Fujiwara no Fuhito, travels to the area of the loss in an attempt to recover the pearl. There he meets and marries a beautiful Ama, pearl diver, who bears him one son. The sacrifice. Full of love for her new family, the Ama volunteers to retrieve the jewel from the dragon palace. She dives into the sea and manages to steal the jewel while the dragon guards are distracted. In some versions, she lulls them using music. Then she escapes as the Dragon King and his army of sea creatures pursue her. She realizes she can't escape while carrying the gem openly. And in an act of ultimate sacrifice, she cuts open her breast and hides the jewel within the wound. Her flowing blood clouds the water, helping her escape the dragon's chase. And the outcome is that she makes it back to the surface and delivers the jewel to her husband, but dies from her injuries. Fuhito, deeply moved by her sacrifice, raises their son as a nobleman, and the story emphasizes the mother's selfless love. And there's also a famous no play which is simply called Ama. And the artist who created the image that you saw, the picture, also created a second picture. Sorry, you saw the one that he created in 1853, and there's also an older one which he created 5 years previously, and that looks like this. So it's a lot less crowded, and the dragon is really small, and there's this huge octopus. But again, you have this woman who's swimming with a pearl in her hand. And you have fish-human hybrids that basically
support the dragon.
Yeah, and this is by Utogawa Kuniyoshi, and it's a woodcut. Yeah. So that's the story, and but there isn't really talk of any priests or priestesses for this. It's basically a story.
It's like you said, like Hänsel and Gretel or any other story that is told. Okay.
But of course, you being you know that there may be more to this story than meets the eye.
Yeah, now based on what we learned yesterday, for sure.
Yeah.
And sadly, at least Alice, not sadly, but based on everything we experienced in the last years, I believe it. Maybe not 100% like fish people following, but hey, you never know. We've seen other creatures.
That is true. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that would be our time, and then we would get ready to go down for lunch.
As you go down and you make your way into the beautiful Imperial Hotel lunch or dining room, actually, it's called the Peacock Dining Room, very fittingly. He is waiting at the door, and when you two approach him, he bows deeply and he kisses your hand, and then he extends his elbow so that you can basically hook your arm into it. And the two of you, followed by Dottie, make it into the Peacock Dining Room, and you sit at a table and lunch. You get a lunch menu that you can choose from. It's Western food, and yeah. Basically, and he says, well, madam, I was most happy to receive your invitation to lunch. I didn't really expect to see you again so soon, but yes, of course, I'm very happy to meet you.
Oh, thank you for taking the time. I can imagine you being busy for sure. But yeah.
He smiles and does this to his moustache. He basically combs it a little bit with his finger. Well, I will be honest with you. A military attaché hopes to not be busy, because when we are busy, it means that war is afoot.
Very true. Very true. I'm usually more hanging out with merchants, and they are always busy, always
Yes,
talking about work.
of course. So, and then the waiter comes and he takes your. So basically, you can choose between a fish dish, and you see that in the middle of this dining. I mean, it's a dining hall. It's huge.
Yeah.
There is a very, very big saltwater fish tank where they keep the fish that you can then order, and they will prepare it fresh. So you can have a choice of different seafoods, and there's also chicken on the menu. What would you like?
I think I would go with fish, because chicken I can get at home.
So the waiter asks you to follow him, and he basically, I don't know, what kind of saltwater fish could you keep in a tank? Because tuna is super big. They wouldn't fit in a tank unless the tank was really big. So I don't know what would be. I don't know. Halibut. Halibut is saltwater, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's big as well. I'm not sure if they could keep saltwater fish in there. They would keep crabs and things like that, for sure.
Well, it says here that it says in the description of the hotel that they did keep them in there.
The tank must have been really
It says
big.
massive.
Then you could also keep tuna. I think she would ask the waiter for what would be the best thing to pick, because she would play the card of, hey, I'm a lady, I have no idea, so please tell me. And she would let him pick whatever fish he
will point something out, and then
we would order that, and then I would go back to the table.
Yeah, Dottie will also order some fish. She's taken to the fish tank. She points out a specimen, and
I want him on my plate.
Yeah, and then of course, and then of course the colonel does the same thing, and then and then you get your starter. It's soup, and and there's also some very light wine to go with it, and then and he says, well then, I suppose you want to talk to me.
Yeah, I think during starter and so on, it would be more small talk, talking about the UK, and if you got news, if anything is happening, because the newspapers here are like weeks old, just small talkish in the beginning, just to get it warmed up and not start with the difficult stuff. But I think with the main course, she would go over to that she remembers that he has contact with Prince Fushimi. And he's also in the Navy, right? That was what you said?
Yes, he is actually admiral in the Navy. He is the head of the Navy.
Well, we are here also in parts to go on an expedition, and weirdly enough, he's financing it. And I was a bit surprised why a Navy official of high rank would spend money and time on an expedition that has nothing to do with military.
That is very perceptive of you, madam.
Might be a hobby. I don't want to judge too harshly, but I would like to know a bit more about the expedition I'm going on, just to know if there's any political or anything in the background. Not that this is a military, navy, we will do something, because then I might be not safe on the ship.
Well, I will be quite honest with you. When I told you that we grew up together, I wasn't lying. And I mean, I know the whole imperial family. I know His Imperial Highness. I know his wife. And of course, I also knew the late emperor. And I also know the Empress Dowager, personally. But You see, the First World War was a time that I spent in Egypt. And although yeah, I suppose lots of people here in Japan didn't really, I mean, Japan did take part in some fighting, but as you know, most of the fighting happened in the European theater. So at the end of the war, Japan was given some reparations. And one of the things that belonged to this set of reparations from the German Empire was a U-boat. And the prince took possession of that U-boat and brought it back to Japan. It took him quite a long time. I mean, considering that the journey, or the voyage, I should say, was a very long one. And I will be the first to tell you that war changes people, usually for the worse, either because of loss or because of the things that they do.
I totally understand.
And my good friend has been changed. He is different now. He is, how shall I put it? He is, he's withdrawn from his former friends. And I really call myself a former friend of his, because he's been playing his cards very close to his chest. Ever since he returned on Submarine 02, which used to be the Kriegsmarine designation U-46. He's been different. What I have noticed is that he's still very active in the Navy. He's now an admiral. But I have no idea what he does in his spare time. So when I heard that he was financing this expedition, I was surprised, because he's never been interested in history, and especially not ancient history. But what I do know is that for a while, the U-boat with him on it was adrift, and it was found on Ponape by the Imperial Navy, and they basically they repaired it so that he could return. So maybe he just fell in love with the place. I have no idea.
And he withdrew from his friends and people. That is, yes, highly unusual. But also it confirms why I find it weird that he's giving his money away for this.
Yeah, and especially since it is his private money. I mean, the imperial family has, of course, just like the British royal family,
Obviously, their own money to spend.
They have their own money to spend, but of course, most of the things that they own are not owned by them, but they are owned by the state. So the palace we saw yesterday does not belong to His Imperial Highness. Far from it. But they do have money. And the prince has been in the military, in the Navy for a very long time. And of course, he has been paid for it. So Prince Fushimi does have money. He has inherited money. He has inherited money from his mother's side as well. So, there is money there, and I don't think that he pays for his day-to-day costs. Living expenses are covered by the imperial household. But having said this, such an expedition as is being planned at the moment isn't exactly cheap. You have to get the right people. You have to get the right
equipment.
They're going to do some diving, as I understand it. So that's going to be very expensive. You have to get the right ship. And I cannot really tell you why he's doing this, because Ponapis surely is interesting if you are a geologist, because it's a volcanic island.
Yeah, or archaeology, or basically history.
Yes,
history,
but really like very, very distant history, ancient history. These, as far as I can tell, Ponape, the ruins there are older than the ruins in ancient Greece. They are closer to ancient Egypt.
Which is why we are interested as well, even though it's more a hobby, but still. But yeah. So, but your estimation is it's not really a military thing. It's a prince wants to do this thing. At least from your, it's nothing that you are involved in. That it's official Navy business.
The islands themselves do not, and it's a group of islands. Really, it's not just the one. Do not have any strategic importance. They are way too small. They are really like you couldn't even land a Navy ship there. They don't have a harbor that is in any way militarily usable. It's not fortified. People do live there, but it's a small island. The only island that is inhabited is the main island. It's very small. Maybe 60, 70 people live there. Even if you were to invade it and hold it, it wouldn't make any difference, because it is too far away from the Japanese mainland to make any difference. Literally, there is nothing there except ruins and, palm trees.
Do you know what basically the rest of the family thinks of his being more distant? Not sure if he was close to his family ever. And about him spending money like this, I would suspect that the emperor will at least raise an eyebrow on this, maybe.
Well, the emperor is his nephew, so you have to understand one thing about Japanese society. Emperor or no, the other one is older. Prince Fushimi is older.
He's the uncle, so
yes, so he's one generation above. I'm also not sure if His Imperial Highness has a lot of contact with his uncle these days. I mean, he has been... he is very busy. And he himself is also in the military. And he is a living god. So he spends most of his time, when he isn't inspecting the troops, he is the high priest of the Shinto religion. So he performs ceremonial duties. And yeah, he also needs to produce an heir, which can keep a man busy.
A little smile from Alice. I can imagine that, and under pressure it's probably not as fun as it should be. But, well, as long as the prince is doing his job in the military, I highly doubt then the emperor would care what he does with his free money and his free time. It's maybe a weird hobby, but it's not hurting also the image of the family, so... Understood. Okay, but not a military mission. That at least gives me a little bit of less worry of being like targeted on the ocean.
I very much doubted that it would be a military thing. having said this, if there is something, who knows who might target you? Because I do wonder what Fushimi is up to.
It is. We will try to talk
But
to
maybe
the professor that will lead the expedition. Maybe he can bring a little bit of light.
Yeah, and maybe finding out more about the U-boat.
Yeah, for sure. Because or if anyone has any idea what really happened during the time they were at the island before the rest came in to rescue them.
There is. I mean, the U-boat was fully manned when it arrived. So,
so do you know anyone maybe that would be willing to have a talk?
I do know that the first mate of that U-boat is an instructor at the fisheries school here in Tokyo. I met him myself. His name is Naoki Tanaka.
Then there's a way to find to maybe get lunch or dinner with her. Which would be easiest, or maybe not discreet enough, but it would be weird if two women would show up there, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that you can go to the school and talk to him.
If you say that, we are always a little bit careful about where women are allowed to shop and why not. Because it's not the US. In the US, I would not care. I would stand in the middle of the military guard and would say, hi, I want to talk to someone. Here, at least I want to try to tread as graceful as possible.
That is a very good point that you're making, but I assure you it would be more problematic if you decided to, invite him for dinner or lunch because he doesn't know you.
True.
So I would suggest you really go and visit him at the school itself.
We will do that. Just to be curious, for him we would need a translator, right? Not in English.
Yes, he doesn't speak English. Most people do not speak English.
I know, but it was worth at least asking. But we have someone for translation, that's not a problem.
Very good, very good.
Oh, then after that, Alice would go back to a little bit of small talk and just asking him a little bit more of which places he would suggest to go to, and talking about a little bit things that we've already seen in Tokyo.
Well, I mean, there was a previous expedition to the island, and the results can still be seen. So they did bring stuff back. You should go to the Geological Society. They have a museum there.
We have it on the list anyhow.
Yes. So I've never been myself because once you've seen the Great Pyramids, it's very difficult to be impressed by stones.
Never underestimate history. Even old stones can be very impressive. Although I'm with you, the pyramids are one of a kind and hard to beat.
That tells me that you've been there.
Yes.
And what did you think?
It was an interesting trip down there. a lot of things to learn and see.
It's interesting. Most people wax lyrical when they talk about Egypt. You call it an interesting trip with lots to learn.
We had some adventures that were not planned, but
Oh, would you share?
no. And Alice will give him a friendly smile.
Well,
but adventures also like train tracks were being exploded, so we had to take ship thingies, and well, political things in Egypt were
as a little
something.
aside, that never happened to you guys. It happened to the other character.
But was it?
Yes.
Oh, that's true. That was the other game we did.
Yeah.
I am totally mixing up our Egypt
Because I was
games.
thinking, yes, there was this political, and I'm like,
Yes!
no.
I thought that no, that was the other game session with Henty and the other, right?
Yeah. But
Okay.
when you were there,
surely we
politically
read
speaking,
something
everything
like
was
that.
fine. Yeah, when you were there, politically speaking, everything was. You had weird stuff going on. That was
Yeah, but
like
about that we are not talking.
we don't talk about that. No.
We don't talk about Bruno. No.
No, we don't talk about Bruno. Exactly.
And after a little bit more small talk, maybe talking a little bit also about Cairo, for example, how beautiful it was, and then we would just finish lunch as we should do.
Yeah, and about 1:30, then he also excuses himself after coffee, and then he goes back to work, and he wishes you a pleasant rest of the day. And then Dottie's like, well, he's a really pleasant person, isn't he?
He is indeed.
But now we have a lot of stuff to look at. Where would you like to go today? Because the Geological Society's museum is open until 7 p.m. today. We could totally go there.
I would like to have a translator with us because I'm not sure it will be in English, but let's just go to the reception because I definitely need to change clothes if we go outside. Maybe she's available. So going to the reception, asking if there's a message. English
there is a message for you, madam.
Thank you.
It's a card that's in an envelope, and it's from Akane, saying that she received your message, and she gives you the room number.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you know if she's in or if she's...
He turns around because this is still the olden days when you leave the hotel, you have to hand in your key at reception. Keys. And he turns around, he looks at 302, and he's like, no, the key is not here. So Miss Minami is in her room.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, having said this, she may be somewhere else in the hotel, but she hasn't left the hotel.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And looking at Dottie, to the society, we need a card. Never mind. Let's go knock on the door and see if she's there.
Come.
I'll open
but
the
she
door.
says it in Japanese, obviously, which I can't because I don't know, but she wouldn't be speaking English because everybody in the hotel is Japanese, all of the people who work there.
I think the few little words that would be within what we learned on Japanese.
Yeah.
So I would carefully peek in, be like, I don't want to disturb.
She's sitting there. She is sitting at her typewriter, and she's typing. Well, she stopped typing because you've stepped inside, and she says, "Oh,
I know
Miss
it's
Baker.
not dinner time. I know it's not dinner time.
Do come in. Oh, Miss Williams, do come in. Do sit down.
We don't want to. We have
you can see that she's got a huge room. It's a suite. Well, the Empress Dowager is really splashing out here. She also seems to have private money.
That gives bonus points to the Empress because you should take care of your people very well if you want to have them being loyal to you. I'm just curious, just if you don't have other plans, would you have some time this afternoon to join us?
Of course. I mean, it's my job, isn't it? To interpret.
True, but it's not like you're 24/7. I just want to make sure we could do
Well,
it
maybe
tomorrow
not
if tomorrow is more
24/7, but
feasible
this
for
is
you.
like, if you like, my office hours.
Okay. So then, because we would like to visit the Geological Society,
Oh, interesting.
and I highly suspect most of the things there will be in Japanese, and my Japanese is not really existing. Tiny bit, but not really.
All right, then.
So if you would be up for it, and afterwards we can have dinner together.
Mhm. Um,
So maybe meeting up in an hour
of
downstairs.
course, in an hour. Yes.
Perfect.
And then she says, brilliant. Shall we meet in the lobby?
Yes, I think that's the best thing.
Okay, good. I will see you then.
Perfect. See you later.
See you then.
And I think we already gave her the room number. If not, I would give her our room number as well.
Yes.
So clearly that we know where we can reach and swing by if we have to.
Yeah,
And
that's very good.
Going back, maybe switching clothes a little bit because we will go outside. Because I think here Alice would maybe, if it's in the hotel going out for lunch, she would have had a dress and be more Western clothing, and she would be more discreet and less out there if we go outside.
Okay, so that's fine. You're gonna dress. Well, you never dress inappropriately, but you would dress. Would you put on a kimono, or would you like still be in Western clothing, but maybe in a skirt?
It would be Western clothing, but in a skirt, very decent, muted colors.
Yeah.
Flat shoes, not high heels.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Then we would meet up with Miss Minami, and we would probably take a cab or something, or walk, I'm not sure, to the Geological Society building.
Okay, so the Geological Society is in Kojimachi, and it is essentially you would have found that out, that the society is the chairman is actually Fukuchi Nobuyu himself, and I made a mistake. It's actually not the Geological, it's the Geographical Society. It's an easy mistake to make, but basically they work on geographical and geological research. So they would also be people who create maps. And as you enter the society's headquarters, as it were, and the museum, the first thing you see is a huge map of Japan on the wall, like painted on the wall. And as you enter, there is kind of like it's like a reception desk where if you want to go to the museum, you buy your tickets, or if you want to talk to one of the members of the society, you can go there and make an appointment or find out where they are, and so on and so forth. And also, since this is both geographical and geological, even in the entrance hall, you see they have put in a couple of glass cases where they show particular types of stones. So, for example, Japan being volcanic in origin, they do have local marble. So you see different types of Japanese marble pieces being shown there, and also a little bit of a what do you call it? Like it's a 3D model of Japan, if you know what I mean. So basically, you see like Mount Fuji and everything,
Fuji and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, where do you go? Do you want to make an appointment? Do you go to the museum first? What is your poison?
We clearly go to the reception. I would ask if there's any chance to get an appointment with Dr. Fukuchi himself.
Okay,
Not
so
obviously not today, but in the
yeah.
next days.
Okay, so basically, Akane is going to translate for you, but we're just not going to play this out because that's going to be tedious. So
We would also note that we would be on the expedition and we would have a few things to clarify.
the lady at the front desk basically takes a look at the calendar, appointment book, whatever, and she says she can fit you in the day after tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if that would suit, madam.
Yes.
What is the name, please?
I would push over my card.
Okay, now let's see if she can read Latin.
Or would have a look at Akane Minami if she wants to write my name.
She takes your name and she writes it down in hiragana. So it's now you're now Arise Bakeru. Dottie Williams is a terrible name for Japanese people.
Yes.
Wiriyamasa. And basically she writes this all out in hiragana. And the lady copies this over, and then basically she takes because even then, back then, the idea of handing over a card is very important. So she takes your card with both hands, she puts it into the book, and then she takes a card which is full of Japanese writing, and she hands it to you, and basically
we'll take a bow and say,
yeah. And Akane informs you that this is actually Dr. Fukuchi Nobuyo's card.
We'll suspect.
Yeah. And you then do you want to then go to the
and then we would buy tickets for the museum.
Okay. Well, the museum is actually free. But you do get a ticket, basically, but you don't have to pay for it because they don't really want money for it at all. And it is huge. It is kind of really centered on Japan itself, on Japan proper, on the Japanese islands. It is also kind of, geological. So it's deep time, as they say. Basically, it goes back millions and millions and millions of years ago, and you see different artist renditions of how Japan looked like, or what it looked like several million years ago, and then how the mountains grew. And basically you find out about Mount Fuji, which is a volcano that is not dead. It is just dormant, so it could in theory erupt. You also learn about its bane, and that is earthquakes. And the Kanto earthquake was just this side of the First World War, so it's very recent as well, and it destroyed large parts of the Kanto area. And that it is also unpredictable. Unlike volcanoes, where you can basically see it's cooking and it's likely to go off. And they also tell you that when Mount Fuji erupted last, they tell you about earthquakes, and earthquakes are something you cannot predict. And then, of course, the second bane, and that's tsunami, that comes with, or is quite often caused by earthquakes, and they can be devastating. So large parts of the coast of Japan, especially Honshu, have at one point in time or another been completely submerged by tsunami. But also, and of course, Akane needs to translate because they don't cater to English-speaking tourists, but also because of its topographical makeup, as it were, where the central part of Honshu is completely mountainous. You can't really live there. Everybody has to, or most people do live in the coastal region. Yeah. But that means if there's flooding, they'll all get washed away. But that's just how Japan is, and Japan just has to live with that. And the Japanese have been doing for several thousands of years.
Yeah, I think we will know about earthquakes generally.
Absolutely.
Because the US has earthquakes, not the New York side, but at least
the other side,
the especially
San Andreas Fault,
California, I think up to Alaska. During that time, maybe Alaska not as prominent, visible in news, but in California, for sure. If there's
Yes,
anything happening, New York City would read it in the papers as well.
absolutely.
But they don't have the flooding part really. It's
Yeah.
really more the earth shaking, and then it's done. So yeah, but Alice will soak everything in, understand, look at maps, understand more where it is. Also now always patching in where the islands are, where we will be going. And then we keep our eyes open for anything that is around Punhape on what they found there.
And
And
also,
also geological, if there's any explanation how the islands appeared, or did they break loose from the mainland, if there was any theory about it.
oh, very interesting.
If you have anything on it. If don't, it's totally fine.
They do. They are also volcanic in origin.
Okay.
And
So one day they grew probably out of the ocean based on volcanic activities.
yes, that is actually true. You also find out that it became part of the Japanese Empire following the Great War. Germany's vast Pacific holdings were granted to Japan. So this used to be German. But the League of Nations basically granted this to Japan. And the Ponape Islands were visited by Professor Fukuchi Nobuyo, because he was going because this was like newly acquired land, if you like, and he was going to first not explore it as an archaeological site, because he's not an archaeologist, he's a geologist geographer, and he was going to map it out. It's new land that now belongs to the imperial household, the imperial crown. So he was sent there, like, what are they
Map
called?
it out,
The guys
see what is really there.
yeah, the guys that mapped the United States, the two. So basically, he was sent there on a geographical mission. And there he found the mysterious ruins of Nan Madol. They were kind of known about, but nobody had really spent much time there. And I do have a picture of these ruins, and the let me just show you this right quick. Can I zoom in? Whoops. That was not what I wanted. Okay, we'll have to do this differently.
Small is fine as well.
Yeah, no, it's completely pixelated. I have to do it differently. So please do not read the text around it.
That's fine. I can do that.
Okay, so essentially this is actually a real picture of the Nan Madol. Can I increase this actually?
Oh, I've seen pictures of that.
Yes, it is real. So basically these are some of the islander children.
Yeah.
And these are the ruins, and as you can see, like palm trees and stuff. So he basically, it's not like he discovered them. They were there all along, and people knew about them, but nobody really cared about them. So he did do some excavating. Because since he was there, he was like, okay, why not? And he says that they found human bones of humans. Well, let's put it this way: bones that looked like they came from human beings that were over 2.5 meters tall, all of them. So unless this was kind of like the world's first basketball team, that's highly unusual.
There's a very good documentary on Disney. I don't want to promote Disney actually, but the documentary is good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
So essentially,
I did it as well.
That's what he found there.
Okay. That clearly shows also that nobody really knows where they came from, what they are, because it's not like typical Japanese architecture, just
no, not at all, at all. But what he does know from a geological point of view is that it did rise from the bottom of the ocean. So it is the result of volcanic activity and tectonic activity, which usually go hand in hand. Where there is tectonic plates moving, there's usually volcanoes as well. Although I think you can have volcanoes without tectonic movement. Because I believe that Iceland has lots of volcanoes. I know that, but it doesn't have earthquakes.
I don't think they have earthquakes.
Yeah, so you can have volcanoes without earthquakes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Sure. So, but also that these geological upheavals, as it were, happened a long time ago. These are not recent islands at all. Yeah, and that is the story of Nan Madol, which is the name of these ruins, which he also mapped out. So basically, he drew maps of them, plans of them, and brought them back.
Okay. So he's already been there. That is at least good to know.
Yeah. They also said that they felt that there were offshore structures underneath the sea.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe it was up higher and then it sank down, or the water. Yeah.
Which would go hand in hand with tectonic movements, because then things can sink as well. Yeah. But once the mapping was done, he returned, and that's all there is to it. There isn't anything else about this. And then, of course, they talk about every single island, Honshu, Kyushu, Hokkaido, in the very far north. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I don't know. Is Alice interested in that kind of thing? Because Alice is interested in most things.
I think she is. It's always, I don't know. I think she's generally very curious to learn new things because it broadens the horizon.
Yeah.
And I think especially going to Egypt triggered, I think, I'm just thinking, no, I'm mixing up again. We need to stop play other Cthulhu games. It's not good for my brain. Literally. Also,
especially since both of them were in Egypt. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, was Alice also in Middle South America, or was it the other game again?
Alice went and left Dottie behind after
okay,
Dottie.
So my brain is not making that up.
Yeah.
So also there, it was interesting culturally. There,
absolutely, you went to visit the Maya places. Yes.
So I think the history
in Central
part
America,
was always interesting, but I think now with all the
weird stuff,
supernatural stuff happening, that is often based in old stories, old myths, and so on. I think it's even a little bit more of curiosity. And I just saw the documentation is officially on YouTube in National Geographic, because it's done by National Geographic. So there you can watch it for free. It's really good.
I mean, the part that they're not telling you is, of course, that this is a Cthulhuoid entity that lives there. They completely glossed over that part, which is why you have to watch our video first before you go to visit and watch the other one.
That is very true. The other
Having
one
said
is
this,
more
we may want. I'm actually going to post the link to this video under this video because
it
I mean,
might be interesting. Then you can have a look on how it looks there, and the main focus is basically who and how did they manage to build this, and also having a look at what is under the water as well.
Yeah, because that is also what is going to be done on this expedition. The plan is they have those huge, diving suit thingies that are basically that are pressurized, and they want to use those to descend.
I can't imagine diving during that time. Nowadays it's already risky, but nowadays you can at least move in the suits and be a little bit agile. In this monster, you can basically just sink and walk, and that's all you can do. And pray a lot, probably, that you make it back to the surface.
Which is actually not far from the truth.
Yeah, they were. I can't even imagine how.
Yeah.
You must have been really strong to do this because they were so heavy. If not, you would just.
Yeah, that is true. They are. I mean, you look like the Marshmallow Man. It's
Yeah,
really,
but it's not fluffy and light.
No, it's
metal and rubber for sure. As well.
Having said this, I do have a picture of what this looks like. And Alice would have seen this as well. This is what this, and it's just for the stream really to get an impression of what this looks like. This is one of the ones that is more movable. They can move around, but they are super heavy because they have lead around their waist.
Yeah, just that they're able to sink properly.
And also they basically get air pumped into the helmet. So this is kind of like completely closed off. And they cannot go, they can go relatively deep, but these people would be Navy divers. And this is something that you would also...
the equipment must be so expensive.
The equipment, yeah, absolutely, yes. And also to train these people, because, you know, you have to learn how to navigate and how to use them. You can't just put them on and then just jump in. So, yeah, and you have an appointment in 2 days' time. So basically going through all of this and, you know, like having somebody translate and looking at the exhibits would have taken you the better part, I want to say, of 3 to 4 hours, because it's a fairly sizable.
And we are not in a rush, so we would take our time, read on, learn things.
So it would be now, I would say, approaching 6:30 in the evening. So it would be almost dinner time. Do you want to do anything special, or do you just want to go to dinner?
I think at least Alice would ask.
Akane?
We call her Miss Minami. We are not on a first
Miss
name
Minami,
basis.
yes.
If she has anything or anywhere where she would prefer to eat dinner, or if the hotel would be fine.
Well, it depends on you. Would you like to have some classic Japanese dinner?
For sure. Looking at Dottie as well. Clearly always involving Dottie, what she wants.
Yes.
As well,
Dottie nods, and she's really looking forward to this as well. I mean, she's been reading up all about the food in Japan, and also how you sometimes can't tell.
We can eat with
chopsticks. Yes,
chopsticks things. Yeah. That's why.
And it's also that she's basically also looked at, you know, like the descriptions of sometimes you don't know what this is, but you have to eat it anyway. But mostly it's, if you can't define it, it's either from the sea or it's some kind of vegetable thingy that has been pickled. They are really into their pickles, as we know. And so Miss Minami suggests a traditional, like not a traditional, well, a Japanese restaurant where Japanese people go to. So
we would love that, because at least when she suggests one, we at least suspect and hope the food is good.
Yeah, but she says she needs to go and change first.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any dress code that we need to think of? That would be our discussion.
She looks at you and says, well, do you have a kimono?
Yes, for sure. We have
because
a very,
that is what
very
Japanese
pretty
women would...
one or a more normal one, which would be probably the normal one. Right?
Let me take a look at both, and then I will make a decision on your behalf. So you go back to the hotel, you take a cab.
Back to the hotel first, then to our room, and we would show the very pretty silky with prints and very delicate, and the more standard that.
All right, you would be wearing the delicate, pretty one when we go to the theater. You would be wearing that one when we go out for dinner.
Thank you. I thought so. Thank you so much. Then let's meet up is half an hour enough for you to get ready?
She looks at you and says, I would be very surprised if you could put on this kimono correctly in half an hour, but let's see.
We can do that.
Okay, she goes away. In half an hour, I'm going to pick you up in your room.
Perfect.
Okay. Then please make a Japanese roll, but with advantage.
We are...
Oh!
We already wore it, and there are different ones, so we probably went for the not too extreme crazy one. I think the one with silk and so on, that is probably the one that will take you a lot of time. But let's see. That is a 15.
Ooh, wow.
That would be, if I go with history Japan, it would be a hard success. And if it's sleight of hand, it's a hard success.
No, it's actually history of Japan. Let me see. I need to pick up Dorothy's. Oh, she rolled a 30 on a 35. That's still a normal success. So,
awesome.
Yep.
Also, we help each other, I'm quite sure, which you need to get in a kimono properly.
Yes, because it's not so much the kimono itself, it's more the belt.
The belt and the wrapping.
That is really intricate.
The sleeve part, I think is quite easy, but
so the two of you make a really good show of this. You have been paying attention when you were told how to do it, when you were shown how to do it. You help each other, and it looks very good. So, half an hour later, Ms. Minami shows up. She has gone all out. She's got like the hair. But she has long hair, unlike the two of you, because Dottie has fairly long hair. But she always puts it into a bun anyway when she's out. She doesn't really wear it open. And you have. Are we still down here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's nothing she can do with but she's kind of got the board thing as well. And she's also wearing the shoes. Are you going for the shoes?
No. We have normal flat shoes. I don't think either one of us would attempt to walk in these shoes because although Alice is always up for... Although Alice still has a walking cane. So
yeah, you're right. For you, it would probably be a balance issue.
It would be... Maybe she would have it just for trying out in the room in safety, just to see, or she would have tried in the store, but I highly suspect she would have said they have to live with me wearing flat,
especially when you're walking outside on the pavement, because that may not be 100% even and stuff. Yeah.
Alice would be like, we are not local, maybe we'll break a rule, as long as the rest is fine, it would be okay. But it's simple flat shoes, nothing too exciting.
So Akane looks at you and she is, you can tell, I mean, she is Japanese, so her face isn't an open book necessarily, but...
Also, if she's translating, I don't even want to imagine how many stupid people from overseas she have met that don't even care
is true,
about
but
culture
she is reasonably impressed, and she says, well, this looks really good. She basically straightens a little bit the obi here and does something there, but she's like, I don't think I've ever seen a Westerner be able to put on a kimono like this. I'm very impressed.
We practiced. We want to at least try to respect the culture. You don't throw something over just half-assedly. I know there are a lot of kimonos that we can get overseas as well, but it's basically just the rope part and not the rest, and it's still pretty, but it's not the same. The only thing that I can't do is I have no idea how you walk in those, that you would point at the shoes.
She gives you a smile, but when you say respect the culture, she actually gives you a very deep bow.
I'll bow back. And I'll grab my cane, as usual.
I have ordered a taxi.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
And I think we would also have like small bags that would fit as well. I think it's more like silken bags that they use with the kimono, so we would have that with us.
Okay, so I have to take a bio break, but when I'm back, we are going to go to dinner.
Yes, let's do that.
So you take the taxi, you go straight into the heart of Tokyo, in Ginza, and you drive by the shops, and then you end up in a it's almost like an alley. You're kind of like, okay, is this? I mean, this is the part. If this was New York City, you would say, I don't want to get out of the car because it's like a. Maybe you would, but you wouldn't want Dottie there.
Alice has been in dodgy areas.
Yeah, but
in
you
New
wouldn't
York
want
City
Dottie there.
because they are the best clubs to go to. I'm sure Alice would. Well, in New York, she has her revolver with her just for that little one. Here, she has her cane. There's a pointy end to it, so
is it the cane with a sword inside? Okay, yeah, okay. So essentially, you get out, and it looks kind of a bit dodgy, but it's and it's a small nondescript door. There are no signs on the door. There is no sign in the window. It's more like, and the windows, I mean, this is one of the old houses with the small windows that are kind of like a little bit tinted yellow, and the curtains are drawn like the old houses we saw, where you kind of go, what is going on here? And she opens the door, and it goes down a couple of stairs, and you are standing in a huge open area with tables. Where lots of women who are dressed like you and lots of men who are dressed in traditional Japanese male garb, which is also kind of like a kimono, only not quite, are sitting. There are waitresses and waiters serving food. You can smell miso soup. You can smell grilled fish. You can smell grilled meat. People are talking, people are smoking. This is something you have noticed. People smoke a lot.
Alice is in heaven. I was thinking about how will Alice do? Oh, she's fine with smoking in Japan during that time for
that wouldn't
sure.
you would have been fine with that.
Yeah, totally
and
fine.
Also, people are talking, but it's not in hushed tones. It's not like they're trying to keep up, but they're keeping their voices down. So everybody's having private conversations.
Yeah, and it's respectful to others as well.
Yes, and it's very respectful to others. And in the distance, you also see that they have a stage. The stage is completely empty.
It's empty. But Alice would have a curious look that when we enter, do people give us a look? And a longer
make a perception check. Not perception, spot hidden.
Because we are still Westerners and we stick out here for goodbye. Then we take another one. You don't want to play with us? Okay.
You're out.
Spot hidden. Thank goodness it's a high value. It's a normal success.
Yes, people do look at you, but they're also being Japanese. So they kind of give you a glance, and and then they look again, but the second look is more furtive. But yes, you're gaijin. You stand out like a sore thumb. But then again, what's your hair color again? You're dark haired, are you not?
I'm dark haired and I'm pale skinned, so that kind of works. I'm just too tall.
Yeah, you are way too tall. You are way too tall. Dottie. Well, her hair it's summer, so her hair is on the verge of turning really red, so auburn. So she stands out a lot more than you do. But
at least we're not like platinum blonde. That would be probably more excessive, yeah.
Yes, that would be, yeah. And then a waiter comes and approaches the maître d', and she asks for the table that she has reserved. And he leads you to a table, which is strategically interestingly placed. It is on the side of the room, but close to the stage. So if something's going to happen on the stage, you would have a really good view of everything. And basically then menus are brought, and Akane basically explains what is on offer. And it is like, traditional Japanese fare, like seaweed and rice and that kind of thing. So, and she asks if she
Alice
should.
would challenge herself to give me the. She clearly can't read it, but the Japanese words. She wants to see how much, because she trained, especially like food. I think that is what in New York City they try to train how to eat and what is the general food and the names for it.
So you basically also recognize the kanji for rice, and rice is gohan. Miso soup.
Miso.
It actually starts
Miso.
with miso soup. This
Yeah,
is the thing,
that's
and then basically it's more like she's gonna order, or she suggests ordering kind of like a plate, a
so a
platter,
little bit of everything.
a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
everything, hot foods,
Love
cold
that.
foods,
Yes.
those interesting salads that they've cooked and then put into ice water and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fish, meat,
Yeah.
plants, and then of course rice.
I think we're happy to give everything a try.
And interestingly enough,
seriously.
the drink of choice seems to be tea.
Green tea, yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then the food is being served, and this is going to be a long affair. So she has told you, if you're going to go to a Japanese restaurant, this is going to take hours. People are going to take
fine.
bites and then talk, and then more food is served. So, and then I would say about an hour or so in,
Before something happens, I think after the we ordered food and everything, Alice would start to talk and be a little bit curious about what Miss Minami thinks about, like supernatural, not perfectly explainable things.
she looks at you curiously and says, "What kind of things are you referring to, Miss Baker?"
Like the kami, for example. Do you think they're real?
Of course they are real.
Well, every Japanese person I ask would answer that. But do you think they're real, that you can see them? Not like
Make a what is insight?
you try to. Psychology?
Yes, make a
Of
psychology roll, please.
Analysis.
No, psychoanalysis is if
Analysis.
somebody is crazy and you want to try to help them.
Okay, no,
Psychology
it's
is
psychology. It
yeah.
would be reading a
Yeah,
person.
reading
I
a
would
person.
suspect. God. I can't read it. I rolled a 99. At least not a critical failure.
Okay, it's not a critical. It's not a fumble. It's not like you lose eyesight.
I just can't. She's good in just showing no emotion.
Sorry, what was the question again? If she's seen one already, or if
she believes in them, like that you can see them, so it's not just an idea and belief like what we
I
have
get
with
it. So
God.
yeah,
So
okay,
they are
okay.
real and they can show up and you can see them and talk to them.
She looks at you and she says, "That's for me to know and for you to find out."
Well, I wanted to give a bit of explanation what happened when we first met, but I don't want you to have me pointed out as a crazy lady, so
does this mean you have seen one?
Wait and see.
I am a Maiko at the shrine of the Empress Dowager.
Well, she's there, visible.
She's not a kami.
Touchable. That is true. Still powerful.
Very much so. Now, how would you think people would react if I told them that I have seen what you Westerners would call a ghost?
Some would noddingly understand because they've seen similar things.
So let me put it this way.
Without question, because a lot of people are stupid and ignorant.
I know what Her Imperial Highness has said about you. I have not been beyond the mirror.
I can tell you it's not fun. You don't want to go there.
But I have seen things out of the corner of my eye. Sometimes, you know how sometimes the shadows move when you're not looking? And then when you look, they freeze, but they somehow outline something that is vaguely human-shaped. I've seen that. I don't know what I saw. I've never seen a kami.
I did another psychology roll just to get an idea if she's lying or not. She's not. I suspect because I rolled an 8 just to make the opposite attempt this time.
She is definitely telling the truth. But you also get the feeling that it's kind of there's a little bit of sadness in there that she hasn't seen a kami. That she has seen things, but she doesn't know what they are, and that it feels like she is missing out on something.
I think then over the next time that we have, if something on stage happens, probably there will be a break in between. But
well, I mean, for the first 1.5 hours or so, nothing is really happening because it's only like 8 o'clock when you first arrive.
The story and a summary of what happened before we met and after we met. So not
about the kitsune
backstory, about the kitsune.
Okay.
Yeah. So not. That's none of her business, but about the kitsune.
Also, let me tell you the story of my life.
Yeah, no, that we're not there. Maybe someday, I'm not sure, but at least Alice wants to put into a little bit of right understanding on why we met in this not very fortunate circumstance. So also maybe to test her a little, because Alice suspects for sure something else will come up. And she wants to check a little how she reacts to the story.
You saw a kitsune. That is very rare. I mean, that they show themselves.
It was very angry and very desperate.
Well, I mean, I understand that. If you were to lose your cubs, you would be angry too.
Very true. That's why we at least try to help as best as possible. Clearly, we could not bring the cubs back, but
I see what Her Imperial Highness sees in you. For a Westerner, that was an extremely pragmatic and good solution.
It was, I think, the only solution that did not include young kids dying that were clearly not responsible for what happened.
Yeah, but what you have to do in order to reach that conclusion is to accept that kami are real. Tell me, have you ever seen your God?
I don't believe in God.
You saw a kami. That's a god.
I've seen gods, but not my God. And honestly, I don't have a God.
No, Dottie puts down her tea and says,
Alice does
and
not
I drink to this.
to this, yeah. Because Alice never had a God. She knows about clearly, but she never took a religion and believed in.
And that is something that would be very weird to Japanese people, because for them the gods are real, as we know. I mean,
I think it would be also weird, maybe more outside of the of New York City, but especially there. Also, I think her parents, if they are, it's more like the typical, we will be there for like Easter and Christmas. And maybe we're in church because it's a nice club and all the ladies are there, but I don't think there's much of a deep.
So it's more a society thing. Yeah.
I don't think she grew up in a very, very, religion. Everything but religion was not important, I think. everything. Society was the important part.
Yeah. Could you move your mic a little closer to you where you are speaking? Because you're speaking very quietly.
It might be also the settings. No, it's not the settings. It's just me. I will try and be a bit louder.
Thank you.
So the answer would be, I've seen gods, multiples. So gods, she would say gods, but I don't have a god. I never had a god. I don't believe in them is hard to say, because I've met them, but that did not help to impress me on them. I still can't see how they're helpful.
I would
At least
imagine
not the
seeing
ones I
them.
met. At least not the one I met.
Seeing must
ones.
be believing, though. I mean, they may not be helpful. Maybe you asked for the wrong things.
Well, sadly, I have to say, yes, at least some of them are there, I suspect. Do I believe in them like other people, that they trust them, that they are looking over us, and so on? No. They don't care.
So if you want to succeed at something, who do you pray to?
I don't pray, I just do it. The only one who can finish a task is myself.
Surely with divine help and intervention.
I hope not.
Again, Dottie's like, I drink to that.
As I said, the meetups with deities were not really a good experience, so I highly hope they leave me alone. I hope that the gods here are better positioned than the ones I met overseas. Well, I have to say, the kitsune is... it's not a god.
Yeah, it is. It's a kami,
Kind
so
of.
yes.
It's a kami. It was... Your gods are different than ours, clearly.
We probably have more than you.
For sure. Although, thinking about all... Yeah, they still have more.
Even yeah, considering that every interesting looking tree is a god.
Yeah, it's like we have pantheons of different areas that might be the same god or not. That's debatable and maybe philosophical, but yeah. So even if we think about the Nordic gods, there are quite a few, not that many.
But not maybe also, the Hinduism, the Hinduist pantheon that has several hundred, but yeah.
We mainly had points with like Western culture so far, and well, also Egypt. It's not that many.
Yeah.
Compared to what I at least know from Japan. So
I think sometimes
they beat us.
Sometimes I think that if one were to really call the Catholic saints what they are, which is minor gods, there are hundreds of those as well. There are so many. I mean, there are those local martyrs that basically...
But you would never call them God because there's just the one.
Yeah. Although they serve this purpose, they are not called gods, but kind of...
They are maybe deity-like, clearly, but it's not
absolutely.
a god,
yeah.
For sure.
So after about, like maybe starting at 9:15, so you've been there for over an hour. One woman in a kimono, in a very intricately designed kimono, steps outside, and she has this white face and this special makeup. You are being treated to a performance by a real geisha. So there's a lot of singing. People speak even more quietly while she is performing. So clearly this is not something where you go and watch. So she is there to entertain, but in the background. And of course, she's also playing music. So it is like a complete geisha performance where she also does the dancing and the movement that would be part of their performance, which you would at least have read about. I don't think you would have seen it because I don't think that they would have performed in New York City. There would have been like a traveling geisha performance thingy, but you would have read about it. So now you're seeing it. They can go for hours. So it's yeah. Let me check. On a 31, obviously, at least Dottie is clued in. You would be clued in at 35 as well. Anyway,
for sure.
Dottie is actually quite fascinated. She does watch because she's never seen anything like it. I mean, it is very
I think
different.
same. Alice would, that would not be the point where she would tell the story. Either we're done or she would take a break because she would focus a lot on what is happening, just being curious. And she's seen a lot of shows, but that clearly is something different. Yeah.
And so the first part is 45 minutes, and then there's a half an hour break, and then the geisha will come on again and do the second half. Yeah, and the food is really good. And I mean, again, you see that there are no Westerners here. This is a Japanese restaurant where Japanese people go. And then, time wears on, and then it's about 11. Then the geisha finishes, and then she leaves, and then people are starting to also start to leave.
We will follow Miss Minami's guide, basically, when she says...
Miss Minami at some point motions to the waiter, and he comes over, and she says a couple of things, and then he nods, and he bows, and then he walks away, and then again he comes back with presumably the check, which she is paying.
And before she's paying, at least Alice would ask her, would it be like not right to like split the bill or something? Or
she smiles at you and she says, no, this is I have an account for you.
But next time maybe I can then pay the bill. Then we will do it like
yes, we can talk about this. And then so she basically pays, and then after a while he comes back and he says something. She says, our cab is waiting outside.
Thank you.
And so you basically you go back outside, there's a cab waiting, you get in, you then drive back to the hotel. And she says, well, so tomorrow you have no plan. Tomorrow, I don't know what you're going to do tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow at 2:00, you have the appointment. I assume you want me to come with you?
Yes. Also tomorrow we would try to talk to somebody that works as an instructor at the fishery.
At the fishery school?
And we would need a translator.
All right. When would you like to go there?
It's a question. Would it be more feasible to go there in the morning? Probably.
Probably. We could leave at maybe 9:00. I would advise that we take a cab again.
Yes,
to get to the fishery school, because it's in the harbor area. It's not exactly close by.
Then, and maybe breakfast beforehand. Not sure if you're keen on Western breakfast or if you have other options, but we would have breakfast in the hotel clearly before that.
Well, then, at what time are you going to have breakfast?
I think around 8.
Well, then we could meet at 8 in the dining room.
Perfect.
Okay.
And that would be then clearly saying goodnight, sleep well, thank you for the lovely evening.
Okay.
And then going to sleep.
You're going to sleep, and everything, is there anything else that you would like to do, or just really go to sleep?
I think we would just talk a little bit about probably the show of the geisha, just because it was interesting, and at least Alice would like to see what Dottie thought about it, because we would not have the discussion in there, just in case they speak English, you never know.
Yes.
But more small talk like. because I suspect both of them really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was different, clearly, of what they've ever seen, but I think they both enjoyed it as far as I think the characters of both of them are. And then just going to bed. It's been a day with a lot of information.
Yes, it has been a day with a lot of information. That is true. And then, but basically, time passes, and the next morning breaks, and you have breakfast, and Miss Minami is there as well. She is having breakfast with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, well, I took the liberty of ordering a cab.
Thank you so much.
And you drive to the fishery school,
Mm-hmm.
which is essentially, well, it's a trade school where people learn how to fish, like
Okay.
going on, going on the seagoing vessels that stay out for days on end. And, this is industrialized fishing, because when I first thought about what would you learn at a fishery school, how to use your fishing rod. No, it's really like those long trips, so it's on the one hand practical. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
even like learning how to do the nets and repairing those and that kind of thing.
So,
But then also, when the fish are brought in, they start working on them on the as the ship is returning. So they're basically gutting them already and filleting them so that they can be sold straight away. So they're not basically bringing back full fish, but they're removing the innards already. And that's what these. So there are on the one hand the more laborer type people, but then there are also the like more the people who captain the boats, and basically they learn where the fish are, and also how to find the fish, because I'm not sure if they would have had sonar back then, but you also have to follow them, how to find where the fish are. Apparently it helps if you follow the seagulls, because they tend to go where the schools of fish are, because they catch them too. And then it's a huge building, which you wouldn't be surprised to see what it looks like, because it's a normal harbor building, and you would have seen those in New York. It's just a fishery school. It's a trade school. And as you go in, she asks, so what is the name of the gentleman that we're looking for?
God, let me check. I wrote it down. Naoki Tanaka.
Exactly, Naoki Tanaka. And
So
why is he not there? I put him in there. Huh, weird. Okay, I have to add him again because I put him in there already now. Here he is. Naoki Tanaka. Exactly. And there's a man, and he says basically that Mr. Tanaka is currently busy teaching, but he has a break in an hour. And would you care to wait?
Yes.
And you're shown into a waiting area, and the smell of fish permeates everything. And it is also quite loud. It's bustling. Outside are cars coming, trucks. People are delivering. People are picking up fish that will be delivered into the fish market. So it's very bustly. There's a lot going on.
Understood.
But it's a school nonetheless. So you're basically placed. It's almost like a tutorial area, not so much a classroom, but kind of like where people may be sitting together and, like having like maybe a cup of tea while waiting for something or talking or whatnot. Yep. And an hour later, Mr. Tanaka is shown in, and obviously he has been informed that he has a visitor or visitors, and he is, you would say, probably in his 50s. And if he was in the Navy, then that must have been a long time ago because he's pretty gone to seed. I mean, you have never seen really, like, people who are overweight. That's more of a rare thing, but this person really is highly unusual. And he basically bows to you, and then Akane explains who you are. She introduces you, and then he says something. She says, "Well, he's asking us to follow him to his office." Mm-hmm. Okay, so he takes you into an office. It's really like a really crammed space. There is a desk, there is a chair, and then he goes out again and he brings 2 more chairs so that there's 3 for you and 1 for him. And then he asks you to sit down, and he sits down himself, and then he basically asks what he can do for you.
Well, we learned that you were part of the submarine trip that got stranded on Unape Island. And as soon as Minami is telling him that in Japanese, Alice would very closely look how he's reacting to that.
Make a spot hidden.
Or psychology?
Mm-hmm.
Or spot hidden is a better one. That's not how you roll a pair of dice. They don't belong together. That's not helpful. Let's do it properly. That is a normal success on either psychology or spot hidden. It's a 61.
Okay. He clearly reacts to this. It could be surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure.
Well, it's not the normal question he's getting for sure.
Yeah. And he basically says, yes, I was there. I was the first mate on the submarine.
We are part of an expedition who will go to the islands in a few weeks. And I would be curious if there was anything that you experienced there that we need to be aware of. Is it easy to land there? House, weather, animals, people, other things?
The weather at this time of year would be would be good. It's warm.
Waters?
Sorry, say again.
The waters, a lot of waves, or rather...
He looks at you. It is the Pacific.
Okay, so it's good that we're steadfast on a boat.
He looks at you and he says, you should be more afraid of a dead calm. Is it a sailing boat?
I don't know.
Well, if you say you don't know, then he says,
yeah.
Well, I hope for your sake that it does have an engine.
I suspect so, because there's a lot of expensive equipment on there. You would not want to have that on a sailing boat and be dead fish on the ocean.
Dead fish on the ocean. That is very true. So as for animals, I think the main problem are the snakes.
Okay.
So don't get bitten.
Poison ones. Okay. The people there are friendly?
They are Japanese now.
Well, it's a question, do they also feel Japanese and behave Japanese?
Okay. Make a psychology roll.
Because this now thing, just because you have a new country, you don't suddenly behave exactly like the rest of the country.
Yeah, make a psychology roll.
That is a hard success. That is a 31.
Okay, he takes this very personally because in his view, you wager he thinks being Japanese is probably being the pinnacle of God's creation.
Then I would put afterwards, it's a hard and long way to get to the point of being good behaving Japanese ones, if they didn't grow up with your culture, they have a long way, because we are trying, and it's clearly
Give it 1 or 2 generations.
okay.
But yes, of course, they are friendly. But I was with the military. What would they do?
I've seen people attacking military because they didn't want to have them there. They did not care of the reaction.
Well, we would have just obliterated them, wouldn't we?
There are tribes and people that would not stop with that, but it's good to hear that they know how to survive. Clearly, on an island like that, far off everything.
Yes, I suppose. But I mean, they make a decent living. They are fishermen. They have lived there for centuries, by all accounts. I mean, there are ruins there that are very, very old, which indicate that they have been inhabited for thousands and thousands of years. So somebody must have made a living. And quite a decent living when I look at the ruins that we saw.
Alice would just give in that we are there for the ruins. And again, looking for reaction to it.
Make a spot hidden. Or, yeah, this time make a spot hidden.
That is... I will spend 3 luck and make it a hard success.
Okay. You think that he's definitely hiding something, as he's saying to you, oh, the ruins are certainly impressive because they're old, but there's nothing there. Really.
Well, if there was nothing there, why would we do an expedition there?
Well, who knows?
I think Alice would then mix in a few like easygoing questions, like if these kind of monkeys are there, parrots, and she will go a little bit with the nature, just going through that he easily can say yes, seen them, not seen them.
Okay, I'll go out on a limb as the DM, and I would say I believe that there would be monkeys and probably also some kind of parrot, some kind of birds. Exactly. Definitely seafowl. There would be gulls, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and of course, Alice just wants an easy topic that is not hard to answer, easy to answer. No, really, just to go a little bit around, and then at the end, I think the only thing else would be like, there's any other warning or information you would like to give us up front, we would be very thankful for. If not, thank you for your time.
I'm a simple soldier. I know nothing of these things.
Officers in the Navy are not simple soldiers. They are the best of the best.
We were stranded there, and then the Navy found us and made sure that the ship was seaworthy again, and we left.
That part I know.
He smiles at you.
In case anything comes to mind, Alice would leave her contact data with the hotel for him.
Thank you.
Any heads up to survive this trip would be nice.
Try not to get stranded.
I'm not the captain of the ship, so we will see how it goes.
We shall see, yes.
Thank you for your time.
Bon voyage.
Have a nice day.
And so you leave.
Yes.
As you step outside, Dottie looks at you like with an eyebrow cocked. It's her face. I mean, she doesn't want to say it, but she's like, that was odd, wasn't it?
I think as soon as we're out of the building, Alice would clearly say, okay, he's clearly not telling everything. It's not that he lied. The things he said are quite true, I think, but he clearly did not say everything.
Akane
Something
looks at you and
happened.
she says, how are you figuring that?
Reading people. Something happened there. That's the only reason why the expedition is going out again. It's not the stones itself. It's clearly interesting, but I don't think it would be reason enough to go out there. Also, is Minami coming with us on this trip?
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Minami would be joining you, yeah.
I will see if the colonel has time. Maybe he has options to get more information on what happened out there. Because we will not get information from them.
All right, says Dottie, then maybe we should talk to him.
Let's go back to the hotel and I will see and ask if he's in.
Make a luck roll, please.
Where's your...
It's not even noon yet, so yeah. Oh, is it? It's maybe round about 12:15.
I rolled a 76. He's
you are informed that he's out today.
Yeah.
But he will be back in the office tomorrow.
Okay.
Dottie is like, well, we could just...
I will leave a message if he has time, just for a short talk.
How about having some lunch? Because I'm hungry. I could eat.
Yeah, let's have some lunch.
So you have some lunch, and then Akane asks, so what are your next plans?
Well, tomorrow... No, in 2 days.
No, it's tomorrow then, because
it's tomorrow
2 days
then.
was like from yesterday.
We have the talk. It's a question if we will not learn anything else about the jewel and so on, I'm quite sure.
Well, I mean, the jewel, what you have learned so far
story
is she says, well, would you like to see the other painting?
Oh, we've seen a picture of it.
Well, if you want to, yeah. they are in the Meiji picture gallery, both of them. The originals, I mean.
Let's maybe do that in the afternoon.
Yeah, they are quite impressive.
And that's the plan for the afternoon. First lunch.
So after lunch,
also the question: if we grab lunch, we don't have. No, we went back to the hotel. So
well, you don't have to. You don't have to grab it in the hotel. You can also eat somewhere else. There are enough restaurants.
Since we're there, lunch is easy enough.
So you have lunch, and then after that, you go to the gallery, and there you see basically it's the Meiji Memorial Picture Gallery. And inside are well, I mean, the thing is, first of all, it's one of the buildings that didn't get affected at all by the Kanto earthquake, because it is made out of reinforced concrete. And it's got a granite facade, and it commemorates the life of the Meiji emperor, the person. So basically, that would be Hirohito's grandfather. And the actual walls and floors are made of Japanese marble, and it's basically, it looks like this. It's like the main part, and then there are two wings, and in the middle is a central dome. So it's a huge building. It's really beautiful, but it's kind of Western. It looks very Western. And inside you see around about 80 or so paintings. When we say paintings, those pictures are huge. Most of them have the size of, like a paravent. So like easily 2 meters tall, 4 meters, 5 meters wide. Those are the Japanese style paintings, but they also have Western style paintings that illustrate key scenes from Emperor Meiji's life. So this isn't just an art gallery, but it's also really, it commemorates him and his achievements and, the Meiji restoration and it bringing everything in, opening the land to the West as well. And the types of paintings that you would see are something like this. That would be basically people looking out on a garden scene. There you've got the cranes, and then you have these flowers here. So, and this motif of the cranes and the garden and the flowers is very, very recurring. You see several of these paintings. And now what I would like you to do is I would like you to make a roll. And you're going to roll, and Dorothy's going to roll as well. You are going to roll on arts and crafts. Because you are very artsy and you have a she's got a seamstressing skill that doesn't really help. Well, she will have to do spot hidden, but she needs a critical success. On a 65, that is not good enough.
I rolled a 68. I have nothing.
Okay. Okay. Well, then you have nothing. The you could also roll on occult. Give me a second roll this time on the occult. Oh, Dottie has a 26. What is her occult score? 13.
76. I see nothing.
You see nothing. Okay, that's fine.
I think Alice just walks through and just enjoys the art without really diving deep in. It's pretty to look at. It's interesting to look at.
Well, the pictures are very, very pretty. And then you end up in the room where the two armor jewel recovery paintings are. They are by the same painter, only 5 years apart. And they are massive. She says, well, there you are.
They are much bigger than I thought.
Yes, they are, aren't they?
I think Alice would just stand there a little while and just look at them in peace and quiet, just taking in the details, just looking at it. Now it's more investigation for her, because now she wants to really see all the details, look at all the details, see if she missed anything on the picture that they've seen from one of them and the other. Just trying to remember also all the details in there, just in case we need them again.
Okay, you can make a spot hidden now because you really want to examine them.
That's a 4.
Okay.
Which is a critical success.
Okay. It can't be, really. It can't be. But
what can't be?
One of those fish folk look very much like Mr. Tanaka. But it can't be, because I mean that painting was made in 1840 something, and he wasn't born then. And also, how would he be in a fish painting? And that's simply not possible. But he does. I mean, kind of, this like his bloated body does make him look a little bit like a frog-like, fish-like person. And like the eyes are a little bit bulgy. Very strange. But then again, it's probably just a trick of the light.
I will look away and look again. Also now having a peek if anyone else sticks out, because we've seen the prints live in color, didn't we?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Dottie also rolled a critical success, and you can see her staring.
Yeah, same. I think I think it's more weird for Miss Benami because we both are staring and
and you're not staring at the main part of the picture. You're staring at one of those little fish guys in the right-hand corner, which is not the central part of the. It's like not. It's a little bit in the foreground, but to the very far right. And you're both staring.
Time. Yeah, and at the same time we stop staring and look at each other. You see that, right?
And she says, "Yeah, I'm positive."
We need to know who else was on that ship.
Dottie turns to Miss Minami and she says, you know that U-boat? Was there ever a list of the people who were on board when it was brought back into harbor? And she says, she thinks about it and she says, well, obviously there would be a manifest and the crew would have been recorded. Well, these records would be kept, and they would be at the Imperial Palace in the Army Staff offices. In the military forces offices. So Army and Navy, have personnel records, and they have records of these things as well, because it is very important to know who is on board of which ship, just in case it sinks, because you always have to inform the families. So records are kept, and they are not only kept, but they are also archived. If you know the name of the boat and if you know the time, you would be able to research everything that goes back to early Meiji.
But is it publicly available, or do we need intel on it?
You would need intel, but I think I know somebody who could help. And she gives you a smile.
We could also try the colonel, but...
Or you could try the colonel. I mean, maybe ask the colonel first.
It would be maybe better not just to spook anyone.
I agree. Although if all else fails, she will be able to help. But
Let's
I agree.
The best way that we don't.
I like it that you are so discreet.
Well, that's what she asks us to be. We don't know who is the one within the family. Well, we suspect who is the one, but we don't know for sure. So we need to be careful. We don't want to endanger her.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Emperor himself.
She bows.
Well, thanks for the offer. But yeah, let's see. The colonel knows I want to talk to him. I would go just me to make just the question group smaller and see if he can get the list.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a lot of names to visit.
Mm-hmm. So you go back to the hotel?
Yeah, also before we leave, at least Alice would point out what we saw, because she is quite sure that...
Akane Minami takes a close look.
Because if you point it out directly, this one, have a closer look. And we just saw him this morning.
On a 12, which is a critical success, she sees it too.
creepy, isn't it? A bit unsettling.
That is more than unsettling. But I can see it too. It looks like it's his face.
You know, a place where you can buy prints of these ones as souvenir because they're clean.
Of course, you would find them everywhere.
Then that would be, I think, the goal.
She says, how about the shop in the museum?
If there is something like a museum shop, that would be the perfect place. We would try to get to prints that are not too small. Clearly not original size, but not like a postcard because it's too small.
Well, it would be a little bit more like you can choose between A4, A2, A4, A3, and A5.
I think it would be A3. We would go with the biggest one, roll them up, and would take them to the hotel.
Okay. Make a luck check, please.
No.
Okay. You arrive at the hotel. So Minami Akane says, all right then, you will be talking to the colonel, and tomorrow afternoon we're going to meet up to go and talk to the professor.
Correct. So we would only need your help in the afternoon.
I will order a taxi so that we can go to the Geographical Society. Let's say 1:30, or let's say 1:15, just to be sure that we are not late. Well then, I will see you then.
See you then. Have a nice evening. Thank you for your time and help.
It's a pleasure. So the two of you go back to your room. Make a spot hidden.
$35 is a hard success.
You're pretty sure that the scratches on the lock are new?
Question is, when I look at it in detail, did they manage to open, or were they bothered and stopped?
You would think that if you don't even have to try very hard to break that lock because it's a hotel room. The people were not as experienced as you are. You would probably not left a mark. But you assume that if somebody tried to break open the lock, they were able to do it.
So before we open the door, I would just tell Dottie to stay behind me. I would have the cane ready.
And Dottie stands behind you.
Open the door and listen.
Make a listen check.
Oh, I will give 2 lock binds and then it's a success.
It seems quiet. It's already dark outside and it seems quiet.
I'll turn on the light in the main room. That should spook someone if they are there.
The whole room has been ransacked.
I will call the reception downstairs.
Somebody comes upstairs and what do you say to them? So you call them on the phone. What do you say to them?
Somebody broke in our suite.
Okay, so 3 men in Western suits come up. They enter the room. They survey the situation. They are being very Japanese about this because that is basically stripping them of their honor because you are a guest. This is the hotel. Somebody has clearly been in the room. They would never think that it would have been you or Dottie that would have ransacked the place.
Because they also know we just arrived. They've seen us. That is correct.
And they are totally shocked. They start bowing. They speak really quickly in Japanese with each other. The one of them who speaks English says, well, madam, I am inconsolable. We will call the police straight away. This needs to be, first of all, we will give you a new room, obviously. I think we should touch nothing until the police has been in. and once the police have been in and have taken your statement and have surveyed the premises, I'm pretty sure that we can give your things back to you. But until such time, would you please follow me?
No, I will walk through and have a peek on what. I will not
But I'm not
touch.
sure that you should be touching anything.
Well, I am the only one who knows what was taken. The police will not know what was taken if I
But
don't
what
look
about
at what was
fingerprints?
taken. I will not touch anything. Walking through there will not destroy anything.
Dottie looks at him and he says, well, fingerprints from both of us would be all over the things anyway.
But
They
I
are our
promise I will
things.
not rummage around. I just want to have a look, and I will turn to Dottie. Maybe you go to Miss Minami and warn her. Maybe her room looks like that as well.
Good idea. And she leaves.
And I will make a tour through the room, just having a peek of if I can see anything like we keep diaries, like the diaries being opened or even taken. I think that would be the first thing to do.
Spot hidden.
Also, because passports we would have with us.
No,
We would
having
not
said
leave
this,
them.
you don't need to make a spot hidden because you know where your
I know where it
diaries
is.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're both gone.
Okay. Because passport we would have with us.
Yes. And even if you didn't, you would probably have put them into the safe. You wouldn't leave them lying around if you didn't take them.
True as well, but I think we would have them with us traveling.
Absolutely.
I would look the safe. I suspect the safe is still closed and not
The
opened.
safe is closed and locked.
Okay.
Do you want to unlock it?
So I would unlock it carefully. I would probably use a sleeve or as best as I can.
I'm just wondering, would they already have had locks with kind of combinations, like, yes, of course, they're the ones where you basically
where you have to turn.
Okay, you turn the combination lock and you open the safe using a sleeve so as not to touch it, and it looks like it used to look so big. I would assume, considering that you just said you had your passports on you, that you would have money in there.
Money in there for sure.
And maybe some of your jewelry.
For some of the jewelry, for sure, yeah.
It's all there, and you can easily tell it's all there.
I will close it up again. And have a peek around if I see anything else like
spot hidden,
like jewelry or clothing or anything like that. Also my gun. We said I took my gun with me, right?
Your gun. Yes, you did take your gun with you.
It would be in the safe as well. It would not have been lying around. It would be in the safe, so. No. With a 94. In all the chaos, I don't think I see anything else sticking out.
No, but what you do see is that your gun is there.
Okay.
So you can definitely tell that all of your books have been opened, and basically, you know how when you turn them over and then just basically shake them to see does anything fall out, and then they've been tossed onto the desk really carelessly. So some of the dust jackets definitely have been ripped. Some have now some books now have dog-eared pages. So whoever did this doesn't really care about books, or try to be quick,
Crime
or both.
in itself.
Yeah. Your diaries have been taken, and your notepad that was lying there. So basically, when you did take notes, or maybe, and you just basically tore off pages, but obviously, you know how you can just take the imprint.
Trace it.
So those are gone. Would you have had any other documents that you would have created?
I think most
diary
would be
and notepad,
in the diary and notepad.
Yeah.
My little black book with some notes would be with me in my handbag because that's where I know things that would still be there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. very shortly after that, Dottie returns and she says, I was just talking to Akane. She's fine. But she's also said that when the police come, she would like to be there just to interpret. So she's gonna be here in about 5 minutes. And she does arrive after a very short while.
Let Dottie know what was stolen, for sure.
What a pity.
I doubt they will find them, but we will see.
What do you mean? You doubt who will find whom? The police, the perpetrator.
Will find who did it, yeah.
At that moment, the police do show up, and basically there's a lot of speaking in Japanese with the person from the hotel. It's now only just the one. Akane starts interpreting immediately so that you know exactly what's being said. The police on a 04 keep their composure, but you can notice that they are kind of annoyed at this. Maybe they would have preferred not to have an interpreter there, to have kind of like the edge when they are interrogating you, but they don't. So they basically introduce themselves. It's Officer Hashimoto. And we will see next time what happens in this interrogation.
We cannot say anything.
Well, we will see that next time, which will be after Christmas. We thank you all for watching, and then we will...
Thank you for putting this together. I'm really annoyed with them stealing thingies.
Of course, I knew you would be.
I knew you would be. To learn more about what is behind all this madness.
And then we will see each other again in this round in... Yeah, probably, maybe even in 2 weeks' time, thereabouts.
I think in 2 weeks, fine, should be fine,
yeah. And then have a lovely rest of the day, everyone, or evening or night, whenever you're watching this. And then, bye!
Bye!